Hello everybody, welcome back to Warburg's Northwest, and as you can see I got a little glassing work done here today. I'm starting to do small parts and completed parts mainly to keep them protected. I'm using Z-epoxy and I'll explain a little bit more about what's going on. Also I did a little bit of layup on my new banding for under here. Under this will cover up these bolt holes that are in right here on the P38, and then I'll custom fit these here. I'm still in fitting stage on everything. Now I will come up here. I'll put the, if it'll let me do. I don't think it will, but anyway, basically what I'm doing here, I've been working on this P38 on Facebook for a while. Those of you know me on there know I got thrown in Facebook jail, so I started another YouTube channel because Zuckerberg sucks my butt hole and he's a dickhead, and that's the way I feel about the son of a bitch. So anyway, I'm not always politically correct, and if I offend people, don't watch my channel. It's that simple. One thing is, I will say, is that a lot of people have asked me about a lot of things I do, and as you can see, my clean shop just got messy real quick. But I kind of want to explain a little bit about my glassing technique because a lot of people have asked about it. And I get really good results. And if you look on here, you're going to notice that the grains have literally turned dark. And I don't leave a lot of spoilage on there because, well, I just don't. And this is all done in one piece too, by the way, guys. And I always do my filling beforehand. And the reason I do it is because I use Z-epoxy and I mix it with microballoons, and I make like Bondo out of it, and that too will go in there, and then this is completely compatible with it. Now the one thing I'll do with a lot of this, and you'll notice that there's a lot of things, they'll turn a lot of things transparent, and those microballoons and everything that you got in there for little bits of filler, if you look in here, it's actually, it looks pretty damn nice. It's one of those deals where it goes. Now I do 3 coats of resin. You can do 2. You can use a squeegee, but I do mine with denatured alcohol. And the reason I'm going to explain it to you guys why I do it, let me sit you guys down so I can kind of discuss it, is because you get a little thing in here. You'll notice a lot of times when you get resins, and I don't know what this one looks like. This is a new box. And I just happened to find an extra one. And what happens is you'll get, good. You'll notice this one is a light color. And then I'll put it back in the box. This is a new one, I'll use it last. But this one is dark. Doesn't hurt the resin if it is, but one thing I want to share with you guys is if these they get a little bit of water in them, is what turns it that dark. It doesn't hurt it, it's not going to hurt it, but denatured alcohol will disperse the water out. It turns real cloudy and white colored. You just stir it until it disappears, and it will actually get rid of the water in it a little bit. Now, the one thing I tell guys all the time, don't oversand your project bed. If you want your wings and things like that to become like this, you want to sand it down to at least 180 is fine. 200 is okay, but the main reason for the reason I do the alcohol to this stuff on this is because I want it to penetrate. I don't care about weight. I'm not one of those guys, oh, it's too heavy. You know what? I don't care. If it's too heavy, I'll get a bigger engine. I don't care, but I want the durability that's going to give that, and the extra shear strength that's going to give it by getting it. The reason these lines are so dark is because this wood is extremely porous. Balsa wood is that way. And one of the things that really makes it if you take this, and I will invite you to do a little test yourself. And this will, if there's any arguments, you hear. I get that all the time from guys that just, you know, for one, I like to brush this on and get it to where it is, and then when it's done with the first 2 coats, then you can squeegee it if you want to. But the main thing is, I'm not saying that there's any wrong way to do it, but a lot of years as a laminator with Bayliner and Boston Whaler and all those other boat groups and all that stuff that I worked for over the years, and aviation with wood, we've done the denatured alcohol to thin it out. It's the only thing that will work. Don't try any other kind of alcohol. You'll get real embarrassed real quickly. But the one thing is that it does lend itself to a better penetration, and it slows that cure time down a lot. If you're in a hurry, get the squeegee out, squeegee it on, bam, done. And it's still pretty thin as it is, and it will penetrate in this and that. But guys, the only thing I use is this Z epoxy. I have tried just about every other brand there is out there, and guys, it's just not. To me, it's just not even worth the hassle. I really have put a lot of thing in, and I do use these small cups. Now I want to show you guys something here, and it pays to pre-mark these before you start doing resin. Guessing is going to be there, because you're going to start favoring a bottle because of the bevel on these cups. And it's kind of a very important thing, and I've done a couple here. And you can eliminate the whole entire thing by using a scale. But right there, you're going to notice on this, it's a clear solo cup. Don't use anything else, because they'll eat it. You'll wind up wearing half of it. You'll notice, because of the bottom and all this, is that the lines are different. And that's because of the taper of the cup. It's that much off. You know, so you got one that's, you know, you get a measuring device, you're going to notice that if you go 3/4 of an inch on one, the next line is only going to be a 1/2 of an inch. That's how much those are off. So what I normally do, get yourself a small, you know, like I use the top of a, let me see if I can find it. I keep this on, I keep one of these around. This is a medicine bottle. It's got the 10 millimeter, and I'll fill this one. I used to put alcohol in when I was doing my fillets, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that here in just a second. And you can mix this stuff with a paste and make a paste, and it just makes the most killer fillets in the world. Better than Bondo or anything else. It's just really easy to sand and all that. But anyway, fill one of these all the way up, put it in, fill it up twice. You'll get that line right there. Then fill it up twice again, and you'll get your second line. Then if you really want to get scientific about it, fill one up and then fill the other, and look at the difference on it once you fill it up by 2. This is what it's going to look like over here, and it'll look like that. So anyway, I do my glassing that way. And resins are what they call an anaerobic, and the lacquer that you use or anything like that is kind of one of these deals. And guys have asked me about polyacrylic and all that, and they say they're getting great results with it, and I don't buy it, not even for a second. Got anything with polyacrylic, just with 1 ounce cloth or 3/4 ounce cloth? Yeah, it goes easy to do. It's easy to sand. It's easy to do, and it takes that, and you're painting your thing with whatever. Okay, I get it. It's fine. If that's what you want to do, and polyacrylic is your thing, you want to go through it and do it that way, then that's fine. It's your airplane. But this will outlast that finish by 20 years. I mean, I just don't see where it is. I've tried it. I've tried West Systems. I've tried other things, and to me, it's just not worth the hassle. Now, you're going to notice on the top here that I've done all my filling first. And this is the same resin, and I mix it with microblades, and it sands so easy, it's not even funny. And I mean, I've gone through a lot on this airplane because it's a big airplane. I'm doing a lot of different things with it. And anyway, I just went and got it because I ran out. You can get a better deal online than this. But anyway, you do this, you mix this 3 parts to 1 part epoxy. You know, and this makes it lighter. And then there's another thing you can use with it that makes it a whole lot stronger, and that's cotton block. It's ground with cotton fiber, so I'm just about out. I'm gonna have to get some more. But I go through a lot of it. I never use my epoxies just straight up, and that's not what I use to build with, by the way. I use Z epoxies. I love anything from there. This is 30-minute, and I have a heating blanket over here. I do have a heating blanket over here that I use, and it's on. Turn it up. And basically what I will do is I will put, if it's cold in the shop, I'll put these in the bottles that make this stuff run out a lot better. And then you can guess on your sides. Usually they have a mark on them, but I just put them in small cups, mix up what I need. I never mix more, and then I use pastry bags and just do it, and I'll show you guys down the road how I make those. Microblends is actually just a really cool way to make the stuff lighter and easy to sand, and it comes out a lot nicer. I'm sorry, that's a dark spot in the shop. I have not finished everything else I wanted to do in here. But for the most part, yeah, I'm starting to do some glassing, and I'll start showing you some finishing, riveting, and stuff like that. And so like I said, once we get into the little things like that, we'll go on and get a lot of this stuff done and built, and it just makes it a lot easier and whatever. Filling first makes everything easy, you know, and I don't like sanding on these fiberglass and stuff like that, but that looks pretty good. Now, I've done my little tail planes here, and you can see they're actually turned out really nice and dark, and then it's starting to kick. This stuff's only been on there a few minutes. I'll do a video when I do the fuselage, but I needed to do these parts because I got tired of putting my fingers through parts of them, because this is only like 16th inch. But you can see there, this side has not been done, so when I do the other sides, I'll do a video on it to show you how I do it and how I mix it exactly. And then it'll give you an opportunity to see what this is. And you're going to notice it's really penetrated in there. This stuff's almost black. And I like that look. I know that it's actually filled those pores. Anywhere I looked at there and I'm looking on this, I see a beautiful velvet sheen on here is perfect. There's no dry spots, no nothing, and any of the little dings and dents and all the little pinholes and all that stuff, they're swelling shut, and I can see that. And they're getting filled. So don't worry about filling pins. And also on your seams, guys, when you do it this way, you eliminate having to worry about if you got all your joints glued, because once you glassed it, you glued everything. So none of the lines you got. And I'm going to show you a really cool thing about this here now, is that once you start glassing, don't oversand your model, okay? Now all these little seams and everything that are in there, you're seeing where they got a little bit of a line in there, and you see where they just about virtually are disappearing. That's because that wood's swelling up. But guess what else is happening? When that wood is swelling up and it's getting in there, it's gluing it. So any of those little spots where it's going, that wood where it had the memory in it, it's hard to tell where one piece starts and stops. That's planked, and that is planked. So this one you can kind of see the planking a little bit more. Got a little carried away right up in here. But this is planked. This whole airplane's planked. But when it's all done like that, you might see a few little lines in it, but won't be anything major. And this was a low spot from the planking. And as you can see, it's so thin you can see through it. I don't put a lot of filler in there. Just enough to get it to where when I do prime it and all that stuff, it's not going to be a spot putty festival. And I will show you guys some techniques on shaping, because I'm actually still doing quite a bit of it. A lot of this stuff still needs a lot of sanding and all that. I'm still getting some other things and whatever. But I do all my filling first, and I like to do it that way. And these little spots that are a little dented, they'll swell up. When you see it in the neck on the second coat, you're going to look at it and you're going to go, oh my. Now, I've done a lot of videos on Facebook on this, and I do them kind of exclusively on on the R4 Birds and Makeovers page in there. And a lot of you guys, by the time you get in here and you see what it is, I'll be out of Facebook jail. But I'm going to invite everybody to kind of come in and hang out in my shop and see what's going on. And give you guys a little bit more in-depth detail about what's going on, because there's just a lot of things that can be done on here and should be, and it's easier when you got some way to go in and look, and then you get it. And I encourage people to make comments and actually ask me one-on-one about other things. And I never ever have made fun of anybody for asking a question, no matter how bad it may seem to the individual. The only bad question is the one that's never asked, and I'm here to help. I'm here to give as much direction as I can to ensure that our hobby stays alive. And when I get done with this, and I'm going to show you how I beefed up this, how this part of this airplane's got in, how I do certain things. And you'll see a lot of things. We got a Corsair up here that's getting done. Got a lot of work to do on that one yet. Yeah, I'm just kind of focusing a little bit more on this. And you guys will notice up here too. Let's see if you guys can see that up there. There we go. I need a camera lady again. But anyway, this is being built alongside of my grandson, 12-year-old, and he's built 90% of this. I've helped him with little things and got on there, and it actually is looking really good. Got no complaints. It's up here until he can get in here and get it, and we're also waiting for wood for that one. My lumberyard has gotten very depleted with this P38. It goes through a lot of wood, or I have anyway. I'm not going to tell you why, but I made a boo-boo here and there, but that's part of it, because we're mad scientists, and well, I am anyway. So anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go for now, because I'm gonna let this stuff cure overnight. I'm gonna come back and see if I can do it. Another thing before we go and before we sign off for the day, I want to explain another thing about epoxies. And this is a lot of things that a lot of people don't get. Hope you guys can see what I'm doing, and this and that. And the one thing that I'm going to tell you guys with it is that epoxies, the slower they cure, the stronger they get. Now, anaerobic just means it doesn't need any, it's not needing any air to dry. It'll create its own oxygen and this and that. So you'll notice I have these cups and everything laying all over a concrete floor. Just for the sake of argument, I don't ever throw them away. So if I've got anything that mixes, if it shows any sign of heat, and a lot of time it does, I do not throw them in the trash. I will put them in a cup like this, And I will put them in there, and then I will set them on the floor away from everything else, and I will set them on the floor. And the reason, and then when they come up there and they dry, then I can look at it, and then I can throw them away. I don't ever, like that one's cold and cold. I don't ever try to reuse any of these sticks. They're cheap, they're not worth the time to do that, and I just don't. But I never throw them away. When I make these pastry bags like this one, I make these, I'll show you. Bob Moore taught me how to do this. It was actually a really cool trick. And then I'll put them on the floor because they get hot. And I make sure there's no heat coming out, and then I throw them away. You'll find them, you'll see this all over my floor. You'll notice that they're thrown over the floor all over the place. And I do that on purpose. A lot of guys that go up there and say there, well, there's a lot of epoxy in there, and once it gets hot, you know, I just make sure that they're kicked. And I'll throw them on the floor, and I'll wait overnight or whatever. And if I'm really worried about it, I'll throw them outside. As long as they're not on my, as long as they're not anywhere near anything that's combustible, I do that. Epoxy, I've never seen epoxy ever do what they call a hot flash, or mixed or anything to the point where they get so hot they catch on fire. Hot batch. But in the fiberglass world with vinyl ester and polyester resin, I certainly have. And it creates its own oxygen. Water will not put it out. Okay? It's going to create its own oxygen. MEKP is nasty. Methyl ethyl ketone peroxide is nasty. And I don't like working with it. Epoxies are a lot safer. The one thing about it is with epoxy that I just want you guys to understand is that it's a lot stabler, a lot stronger, and it's a lot more flexible. And just for a demonstration purpose, this is epoxy, and I did this on a deal, and this is why it makes so much sense. And this is why, because it never completely ever gets really super hard. And this is 48 hours old, and you're putting this on your airplane, but it's sandable, and it doesn't get, so it's got some flexibility. When you go up there to hit it like this, it'll go up there and it'll take some dents, it'll take some lumps and some bumps. And that's a side view, and that's what I use for the deal over here. And you want to use laminating resin, and the reason for it is because, well, there's difference. There's finishing, there's laminating, there's all kinds of different kinds of resin. You want something that's gonna, it depends on what you're making. Finishing resin does get hard, but it doesn't get so hard you can't bend it. When it's on here, it'll resist the dents. But here's the trick on this. The reason you want to do your fiberglass, guys, is because of the fact is, now I use 1 ounce cloth, and I just use the stuff you get from Zeroli, and I get it non-starch. It conforms. You can do compound corners with it and everything else. It's going to form to that part. Easy to work with. Anything over that, 1 ounce is the maximum. Don't go any more than that. You're not getting anywhere by doing it. If you do have to do some kind of laminating, like in the back of these booms, like I'm going to add a little bit of heavier cloth in there and some carbon fiber in it just to strengthen one bad area. On the Zeroli P38, they break behind the gear doors, and they have a tendency to crack there. So I do like to actually do a preliminary lamination of a little heavier cloth, and now I put 1 ounce over the top, and it usually gives it enough to keep it from doing that. and then I'll explain how I build up the rest of it, just because it's a neat little trick if you're doing a P38, and an awful lot of you out there are. And the one thing is, the one I kind of talk about is, and I'm going to show you an exact example of why you have to use the cloth, and then we're going to be done for the day. And over here I've got a wing off of P51 that a customer brought in, and you're going to notice something really crazy about this. This is done in Z-epoxy, but there's no cloth in it, and everywhere it's got over the years. This is what will happen if you do not use your 1 ounce or half ounce cloth or whatever, and it will just pull apart. And the whole entire airplane did it. I mean, it's not just here. It's really bad under there and there. The thing is, this is a foam wing that was covered in 16th fiberglass, and he's done a lot of modifications and other stuff to it, but the wing is just so boogered up that the only way to fix it is to build a new one. So, I mean, there's no fixing this. Once this is done, that wing is just, it's not fixable. I mean, it's pliable, but to make it look good again, it's done. I mean, it's just, this is what happens. And this is the old polyurethane paint over the top of it. And over years, it just went bad. And so, and it's a shame, because that airplane was a record holder. It's got an unbelievably huge engine for that airplane. That's got a that airplane has a I want to say it's a 150 size Sato, and it's insane. 130 miles an hour, I think is what they had that radared at. The airplane's so fast that it won't even land. So, in this airplane, I don't even know who made it, but he put flaps in it and this and that, and that's the only way you get it to land. It would not settle down without dead sticking it. So they had to do that, and unfortunately the gentleman has had a stroke and can't fly, but we do have his plane here ready to go, and that's also where the Corsair is going. So anyway, we are gonna have a lot of fun in these build series, and the next up is going to be an FW190 or P47. I'm not quite sure yet which is. And then we also have the build with Bob Moore, which is also the very same airplane as this, only a full composite. And yeah, we're actually doing a lot of this stuff. So anyway, I'll see you guys in the funny papers, huh? Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll get on. If you got any ideas and anything you'd like to see, message me and we'll make a topic about it. And we're going to start building us some serious airplanes and getting into the little things and this and that. So anyways, guys, in the middle of this is Warbirds Northwest, and we'll see you in the funny papers.